Good afternoon, YouTubers. T Square here with T Square Talk. So, have I got something super exciting to talk about tonight? House Bill 9157 just got proposed. How many of y'all been following this? This is a good one. Could we go back on a gold standard? Well, if you guys look up this bill, the title of this bill is basically announcing a dollar that's backed by gold. The bad thing is they don't say anything about silver. We're going to talk a little bit about this bill tonight. I'll give you guys some details. So if you want to go look this up, you can look it up yourself, kind of read about it. Because when I heard about this, I didn't believe it. I said, there's no way. Who is going to propose that? And sure enough, it did get proposed. So I'm super excited about this. We're going to see how that plays out. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button for me. Hit the subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this bill. Will it get passed? Will it not get passed? Do you think it's just going to be forgotten about here shortly? So a couple days ago, well, actually today, I actually got a phone call this morning. Everybody missed this. I'm not hearing any YouTubers talking about this that I've heard yet. However, I got a phone call this morning from a gold and silver coin sales rep. You guys know I talk to a lot of different companies. I'm huge into coins. I love coins. And I love really promoting gold and silver because I really believe that it's going to have a huge impact at some point. So needless to say, it got mentioned to me in the conversation, have I heard about this bill, HR 9157? And about us going back on a gold-backed dollar. I said, first of all, should we even have to propose a bill on something that's in our Constitution? And I said, but I'd have to read it to believe it. Otherwise, hearsay, I don't know if I believe that. I've heard some crazy stuff, people trying to sell gold, sell silver. They have ulterior motives to promote it. But when I heard this, after I got off the phone with this gentleman, I instantly went and looked it up. And sure enough, it does exist. And you guys can look it up too. My thoughts on this bill. First of all, what's interesting is they don't mention silver. And I talked to this gentleman. This gentleman's not pro-silver. He's pro-gold, but he's against silver. And I'm like, well, I explained to him why I think silver is a good investment, in my opinion. But I still like gold. I think gold is a good investment too. And basically, after talking for a while, we discussed the pros and the cons of this bill. Now, this bill would be great, to be honest, for gold. But what I'm wondering is, if all of a sudden we revalue gold to back the dollar, what is that going to do to silver? Where would silver be? Is silver going to get left out by the wayside? It's kind of some scary stuff here when you think about it, because I'm a firm believer in silver. I believe that silver is way underpriced. It's heavily manipulated. The uses for silver are astronomical. The amount of silver that's been thrown away in manufacturing, maybe it's been used in some circuit boards, some cell phones, some computers, some laptops. But when these things are outdated, what happens to them? Most of the time, they don't get recycled and stripped out for their resources. So I'm kind of thinking, well, man, if that happens, if we reevaluate gold, but we don't reevaluate silver, what is the gold to silver ratio going to be? It would be astronomical. And here's the thing. If gold gets too expensive, where does the average stacker move their money? Do people keep buying gold at $5,000 or $10,000 an ounce? I'm not convinced personally a lot of people will be able to afford $10,000 an ounce unless we are in mega hyperinflation, which I don't want to see, but some people say that's what it will take to see silver go to $200. Now, I'm not convinced of that personally. I'm convinced we've seen silver go to 50 in 1980, whether you want to blame it on the Hunt brothers, you want to blame it on people getting scared of inflation. We've seen silver jump to, 40, was it, in 2008? I think it went up to 49 again. Um, so we've seen big jumps in silver. But somebody will make the argument out there that, those are needles in a haystack. We don't see over $50 silver that often. I'm convinced if they double the value of gold, that silver will follow suit. But some people are like, no, just like copper won't follow suit, nickel won't follow suit, none of these other metals are going to follow suit. It's gold. Gold will be a financial asset. Basically, they're going to be using it to back currency again. What I like, first of all, about this bill, this idea is, and these are things I want you to think about. And while you're thinking about it, make sure you're writing a comment down so I know your thoughts on this. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button for me. Starting out, though, what is going to happen to the people that are in debt heavily? So let's say you owe $30,000 or $40,000. Let's say you owe $100,000 on your house. How is that debt going to be paid back when you now have honest money back to gold? I don't know how people could pay it back. And this was something that I've mentioned on videos before, why I don't think we ever could go back on a gold standard. Because the dollars that are out there, you'd have to, first of all, reevaluate gold to a higher price. Would it stop? As in, would it just stop the printing because we don't have the gold to back tons more printing of money? Would it be a sight thing of, oh, we have the gold, we just did an inventory, we got the gold, so we say, a lot of people have this doubt that Fort Knox is totally empty. I don't know if Fort Knox is empty. Do I have a belief? I have a belief they don't have as much gold as we say. I believe we've sold it off, we've loaned it out, we've made American Silver Eagles and sold them basically through the mint to people, and they make all this money, and that's great. But what scares me is if we don't have the gold, and it comes out that we don't have the gold, where is that going to put the United States? Right now, we're supposedly the country with the most gold in Fort Knox. We're holding gold for other people who, lately, we've been seeing a lot of repatriation of their gold. People want their gold back. Some, justifiable. Some, well, we're holding it for security, for your security and for ours. A lot of excuses why you can't have your gold back right now, why the logistics of it is just astronomical. And so I don't really know if we ever could go back on a gold standard with the amount of money that's out there today. Do I believe it would be good? Absolutely. I mean, if we went on an all-honest dollar where we were backing the currency, any new currency, any old currency, we're going to back it to gold. But what's going to happen when people want the gold? When countries say, you know what, Japan, you owe us this much money. We want to sell everything. We want gold. Where is that going to put our gold holdings? I mean, this bill was proposed by a Republican. Obviously, right now, Republicans want to keep spending in check. They'd like to balance the budget. I'll be honest, I'm a Republican. However, I've got a lot of friends that are Republicans, and they'll want to say, and don't hold this against me if you're a Democrat. I'm not saying anything bad about Democrats, but in fact, I'm about ready to say something bad about my own party in a few minutes. A lot of people want to blame the Democrats for the amount of spending that we're having right now. All this huge spending, the free college and all this other stuff. But the truth of the matter is, even when Republicans ran everything, I'll say President Trump ran stuff. I like President Trump. But when the Republicans had everything, we were printing money like crazy. Still. It hasn't changed. Government spends. They don't budget. They don't balance budgets. They propose more spending plans. It's not honest money. It's print. And essentially it's the easy way out. Well, we don't have to tax more. We can just print more money. And in a way, that is a tax, because by printing more money, we are essentially losing out because the dollars that we've saved from hard work and dedication is slowly getting filtered away and devalued. So part of me likes the idea of this, us going back on some sort of a gold standard. Part of me don't like it. And part of me thinks if you back the dollar, for those of you guys that haven't checked, you can check out the US debt clock. Look in the bottom right-hand corner of the US debt clock and see what gold would have to be if we back the dollar to gold. Now, I'm not convinced we can back the US dollars to gold. Could they back it to a basket of goods? Maybe some gold, some silver, some oil, stuff that we have? Absolutely. And it wouldn't have to be astronomical. I think the world is going to commodity based, which means people are going to want hard assets. They're going to lose faith in fiat currencies. In fact, a lot of fiat currencies around the world are starting to fail. Yeah, the US dollar is looking strong. I mean, we're as strong as, it's getting astronomically strong. But it's only getting strong when you compare it to other currencies. What's really happening is other currencies are going down and we're not going down as fast. So we're spreading out. They're just falling faster. I've used the analogy numerous times. If all these currencies of the world all jumped out of a plane and they're all falling fast, and the US dollar's not falling as fast, it doesn't make them in any less trouble. If I jump out of a plane and you jump out of a plane, and I'm a big guy, I'm 6'3", I won't say my weight, but maybe I'll fall faster. Maybe I'll hit the ground faster. And maybe you'll, slowly flutter down to the ground because you're light. But it ain't going to change the effects that you're going to hit the ground and I'm going to hit the ground, and the outcome is still going to be the same. When it comes to dollars, it's fiat currency of the world. It ain't going to change the game. They're all falling. So does it really matter whether it's falling slow or it's falling fast? Not really. At the end of the day, I mean, it's great to be on the boat that everybody's trying to get on, especially if you already understand that there's something out there better than fiat currency, that you understand that there's real commodity assets that will keep, like gold, silver, copper, nickel, maybe having a stockpile of food. Because I've always said from the get-go, there's a lot of other things. I'm not going to put all my faith in gold and silver. I know someone's going to hear that comment and they're going to be, you need to put your faith in God. First of all, I'm a religious person. I don't talk about it on the channel a whole lot. But I do believe you need to have a variety of stuff. We talk about your number one priority needs to be have extra food on hand, food and water. The next number two priority, you need to have security, pow-pows, pew-pews, and ammo. The number three, you're going to need something to preserve your wealth, something to barter with. And then once you start building off of that, you're covering all your bases. So where I'm going with this, though, is I want people to understand how this could be good, but I also don't want to get overly excited. I had someone else tell me today, what's it going to change? You can't do anything about it. And you're right. We can't do anything about it. We don't control the bills. We don't vote on the bills. It's something I would love to see them pass, but it's also a scary thing for the people that have a lot of debt. How are they going to pay this debt back if it has to be paid back in some gold-backed currency? Just in the short time that something, I don't know how many of you guys have heard of gold bucks or gold backs. You got Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Utah, New Mexico. That's 4 states that have already have gold backs in play, and they accept them. Yes, they have to go on a calculator and check out the conversion from day to day to accept them, but they recognize that as real money. Here's the thing. When they first came out, it was only like 2-to-1 ratio. A $1 gold back was worth like $2. You could buy them for $2. I remember looking at them for $2, but I couldn't pull the trigger on that. We're talking this tiny little sliver of paper, lightly paper and polyurethane with gold inside of it. It's cool, the idea behind it. Then they went up to $2 a piece, $3 a piece. Now they're $4 a piece. And as gold climbs, there is literally gold in them, and it climbs too. Who knows? We're going to see how this plays out. Now, I'm not saying this because I want you to run out and buy gold. In fact, I'm hoping that people aren't waiting till the last minute to stack a little something aside for themselves. But I want people to be aware that one day this could come around, and when it happens, it could happen fast. I guess it's going to come down to if that bill goes into effect. I expect they'll be voting on it pretty soon. I don't think it will pass. Currently, everything is pretty much held by Democrats. And if you are in office, you don't want to control your spending. You want to get reelected. Re-elections come with free money. Hey, what have you done for me lately? That's the whole reason we're pumping all this oil out of our strategic stockpile reserves. So maybe some of these Democrats can get reelected, because right now people are unhappy that oil prices are as high as they are. Now it's supply and demand. We've been printing money for too long. Inflation's coming. There's no way around it. Us depleting our strategic stockpile reserve to keep oil prices low is a temporary fix. And yes, it feels good now, but we're going to have to buy that back. If we go to any kind of a war or an altercation in the world and we need a lot of oil, that's only going to get harder. The only thing that might help, and I don't even know if this would help, and I sometimes wonder if that's their plan. Maybe, okay, we deplete the U.S. stockpile reserves, we let it run down, and then we put the country, we just let the inevitable happen. We go into a huge recession, depression. Everybody's out of work. Everything comes down in price because obviously nobody's buying, so price will come down on oil for sure. And when it comes down, maybe they're going to print more money and buy up to fill up our strategic stockpile reserve with worthless paper, and we're going to take the hard assets, the oil. I don't know. But when I heard this today, this bill, I said, this is something I got to talk about. No one's really talking about it yet. Everybody's going to have a different take on it. I didn't even believe it at first. I said, nah, it's hearsay. I said, did you see it or did you hear it? He said he had heard it, but he had the bill number, and I looked it up, and I was like, wow. So it's only been proposed right now. It's not in effect. It's still got to get voted on, multiple votes. And signed off on. And I don't know if we will get there. What I do believe is going to happen in the short run and the long run, I expect tomorrow the new CPI numbers are going to come out, and they're going to be higher than where we're at now. Once that comes out, that we have higher inflation numbers, then I believe that's going to trigger a higher interest rate on November 2nd. They're going to up the interest rates by another 0.75%. Once they up those numbers, it's going to make the dollar stronger. It's going to make it harder for people to get dollars, and it's going to make the U.S. dollar even stronger. Once that happens, we're going to see gold, we're going to see silver probably have another good pullback. Now, how many times can it keep pulling back? Who knows? Because every time gold and silver pull back, then we see a big jump. Shortly after, look what happened on the 1st of this month. Soon as the end of the third quarter, soon as it came up, boom, we saw a big jump in precious metals. We've seen silver go up, 10% almost? Now, did we see it come back? Yeah, we've seen some of it get pulled back. It didn't all get pulled back. Silver's still up a sizable percentage so far this month in the last 30 days. So, with that being said, am I looking for a pullback? I would love to see a pullback. I'm not trying to sell. The only reason I would want to see it skyrocket is if I want to sell. The lower it goes, the more gold and silver you're going to stack away for a later time. And therefore, with that being said, it's opportunity to basically pick up more and try to go from there and see what you can do and what you can gain. Um, until the day comes where we find out the dollar has just been inflated away. It's not going to happen overnight. I think gold and silver will keep steadily working up. I think the dollar is eventually going to crash. We can't have the dollar as high as it is right now. It's probably going to happen when they pivot. At some point, they're going to have to pivot. Think about it. The dollar can't just keep getting stronger. We've already got countries, other banks around the world crying to the Federal Reserve, crying to the U.S. We can't keep raising interest rates. It's making it too hard for these other countries to survive. You know, unfortunately, the U.S. should be looking out for the U.S. I don't even think these little 0.75% are anything major. I mean, I'd had one talk with someone the other day. They're like, dude, it's like 4% now. That's huge. It's not huge. It's huge in young people's lifetime in the last 20 years. Look at like the 80s when inflation was through the roof and they raised interest rates to 20%. Home loans were running 25%. Can you imagine a home loan at 25% interest and then your home being worth $300,000-$400,000? It can't sustain that. That's going to cause, I believe, if interest rates keep going up, it's going to continue to let the air out of the housing bubble. We're going to see houses deflate. We're going to see, I mean, stuff that's comes in from other countries will come down in value, but eventually people aren't going to want to buy anything from the U.S. because it's all going to cost too much. So we're going to see how some of this plays out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the description below. Please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm pretty excited to see how some of this is going to play out. So it's going to get exciting, especially when it comes to gold and silver. So I'm going to keep trying to stack a little here, a little there when I can, and then see what happens. I'm looking for the deals. For those of you guys that have reached out to Universal Coin and Bullion and mentioned my name, I thank you guys. They have actually, I talk to them regularly, and they're like, yeah, we've been getting a lot of calls now. I see the videos are starting to spike, so I am super thankful. And with that being said, we're just going to keep trying to grow the channel and see what happens. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time on T-Square Talk. You guys have a great Wednesday and middle of your week. I'll see you guys on Friday night. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.